So first is collision detection between two bodies inside Unity game engine. So for this step 1, we first attach a component which is collider to game objects, and after that we at least for one object game object we will attach rigid body, and after that when they collide each other, then the function event function will be called collision inter and collision stay, so that in that function we will write our code when we get any collision between these object. Okay, next question for trigger and collider. What is difference between trigger and collider? So trigger is basically when we set any collision with is trigger active. So in that case our when our player or maybe any game object uh, go through the that collider, other collider, so that it will not block that object, but we can also detect the collision on trigger method inside that game object. And in collider we basically block the other game object, and when they touch each other, so we detect the collision inter and other events. So this is the case, and for example we have a character which is player, and also other character like coin which is collectible. So player can go through that coin, and that coin will not block that and that player. So in that case we will use trigger, so that that player can easily go through that coin, and coin will be triggered, and in that code we can write collectible coin code. And if there is an enemy, so we will use collision collider, so that player will be collide with that collider object, and we will detect and that enemy will block that player, so we can detect collision according to that. Next is, if we don't use any collider, trigger, unity physics and raycast, so can we detect collision? So simple idea is, if two game object is nearby each other, so their position will be pass through pass through each other. So in that case we can detect distance between them, and if they are pass through each other, and we can detect position in every frame in update cycle, where we can check the frame and of other game object, and also in this game object, if they are crossing each other, so we can detect the collision in that time in that frame. So this is not precise enough to decide collision, but we can use that. We can use collider and other unity feature to use collision to precise result.